We learned on an object-oriented paradigm. We learned in previous lecture that what is an object. We also learned that an object-oriented language which have encapsulations, abstraction, polymorphism, and inheritance. There are 4 objects, and we can see here the diagram of an object, that is person. One objects differ from another objects by its state or method or behavior. So now the introduction to class diagram. The class diagram presents a collection of classes, constraint and relationship among classes. UML stands for Unified Modeling Language, can be used to create model of object-oriented software to help with design of an applications. UML is a visual modeling language defined and maintained by the Object Management Group. So OMG stands for Object Management Group. UML specify several diagrams for representing different aspects of a software applications. The purpose of the class diagram is to model the static view of an application. The class diagrams are the only diagrams which can be directly mapped with object-oriented language and thus widely used among software developers. So in class diagram, a class represents with an icon using a rectangle split into three sections to present name, attributes and behavior. Name of the class in the top of section, attributes or properties of the class in the middle section, and behavior or operations or method of the class in the bottom section. So you can see here figure, and you can see here a classification of UML notation. So you can see here person class, it is a name of class as per class diagram. Then you can see middle center one in middle section, that is name, city, gender, birth date and professions, which is known as an attributes or properties. And after that you can see set birth date and city, change city, it is known as a behavior or operation or a method. The class person is intended to provide information that is useful in understanding the role of the class in the context of class diagram. It does not have to contain every attributes and operation of the class. You can see here visibility, attribute name, attribute data type and initial value. Here item written in pair of square bracket. Remember students, here an item written in a pair of square brackets are optional and user is supposed to specify the value for items enclosed in an angle bracket. So visibility can be private, protected, public or package represented using symbol of dash, hash, plus and tilde respectively. So we will study about visibility in later chapter. Attribute generally refers to a variable. Data type and initial value identify the type of data stored and its value at the start of the program. As can be seen here, only attribute name is mandatory and all other items are optional. So some example of declaring attribute, you can see here name colon string and balance float is equal to 0.0. Here balance is a name of attribute, float is its data type and 0.0 is its initial value, and dash indicate visibility. So an example of method. In the previous example is set birth date. Here the parameter can be specified with date type and optional default value. For example, gender, character, and parameters can also be specified as input or output depending on whether it is ready only or not. UML diagrams are independent of the program language used for coding an application. Some software developers prefer to specify attribute and operation in the more familiar format of a programming language instead of using the standard UML notation. That's fine as long as it makes sense to everyone concerned. Objects are present using their state during execution of an application. So thus objects are dynamic corresponding to figure 6.1. You can see an object also called in instance of class person is represented as shown in figure 6.4. So here you can see there are two class, person 1 and person 2. Here same attribute for person 1 and person 2, but state divided here and different with person 1 and person 2. Encapsulations. It is our first expectation of object-oriented paradigm. For any computer program, two core elements are data and function. Structure or procedural programming views these two core elements as two separate entities, whereas object-oriented programming views them as single entity. So in procedural programming, data can be altered by any component of the program. It is not protected from modification. In object-oriented programming, this problem can be solved using encapsulations. Here data and the method that manipulate data are guarded against modification or misuse by other components of the program. The mechanism of providing protection to data and method of a program is called encapsulations. So this is possible by wrapping data and method into a single unit known as a class and declaring them as private. Private members of the class are not available directly to outside world. If necessary, the data is made available via public method. Thus, encapsulation provides data hiding capability. Remember, encapsulation provides data hiding capability. We will study about class and private or public data and method in later chapter. Encapsulation keeps the data safe from unintended action and inadvertent actions accessed by outside objects. Unlike procedural programming, where common data areas are often used for sharing information, object-oriented programming discourages direct access to common data by other programs. Only the objects that owns the data can change its content. Other objects can view or change this data by sending message to the owner. Second expectation for object-oriented paradigm, that is data abstraction. Data abstraction is a process of represent the essential feature of the object without including implementation detail. Abstraction is a concept that hides the complexity. It says what it does, but not how it is done. Let's take one real life example of a television set. We can turn television set on and off, change the channel, adjust the volume, but we do not know its internal details like how it receives signals over the air or through cable, how it translates them and finally display them on the screen. Thus, there is a clear separation of internal implementation of television set from its external interface. We can play with it via external interfaces like the power button, channel changer, and volume control without having any knowledge of its internals. Data abstraction, thus, is a technique that relies on the separation of interface and implementation It is not a new concept in programming. Most people already practice it up to some degree, probably without realizing it. For example, when we use functions like squared, 25 and printf hello world in C programming, we never thought of how they are implemented. A user-defined function with necessary input data parameters also provide data abstraction. Let us consider a C program using structure for declaring date type of data. Here date is a composed of three elements: date, month and year. Let us use primitive integer data type for this element. Consider a function named datediff that takes two dates as parameter and returns the number of days between two dates. Abstract data types. So ADT stands for abstract data types or structures in C++. Classes in C++, Java are examples of data abstraction. In ADT we simply define data type and a set of operation on it. We do not show the implementation of operation. The basic difference between data encapsulations and data abstraction is encapsulations is protect data by making them inaccessible from outside, and abstraction enables to represent data in which the implementation details are hidden. So now messaging. In object-oriented terminology, a call to mention method is referred to as a message. Due to encapsulation, all method calls are handled by objects that recognize the method. Different classes may have same method with same name. For example, class date has method name display that display the date object in specific format. Suppose there are other class time and person, both having method with same name display to display time in specific format and to display the detail of person respectively. When method display is invoked in the program, how to know which method is to be executed? This is determined using the object that invokes the method. For example, if display is called by an object of person class, it executes the display method defined in person class. Polymorphism. Our third expectation of object-oriented paradigm. Polymorphism means many forms. Remember students, polymorphism means many forms. There are maybe different form of single method or operation. Assume that we have written a function named max that finds maximum of two numbers. It takes two integers as a parameter and return maximum as integer value. Now suppose we want to add one more function named max that finds maximum of integer elements stored in an array. It takes array and its size as parameter and return maximum integer. Is it possible to define more than one function with the same name? In some programming language, the answer to this question is not. But in object-oriented programming, the answer is yes. As long as the method differs in signatures, means number, type and types of parameters. Object-oriented programming allows defining more than one method having same name but different signature in a single class. This feature is known as function or method overloading. Object-oriented programming also allows writing expression using operator on object. For example, we can use expression date1, date2, where both operand are object of class date. Here operations dash is performed in a way different than performing subtraction on two number, this is n1 minus n2. Here same operation is given different meaning depending upon the data type of operand used. This type of polymorphism is achieved through operator overloading. So thus polymorphism is achieved using two types of overloading: function overloading and operator overloading. In general, the capability of using same name to mean different things in different contexts is called overloading. Now, aggregation and composition. It is indicate relationship between two classes. When object of one class are composed of object of other classes, it is called aggregation or composition. It represents as a part of relationship between two classes. For example, motherboard is a part of computer. As we know, computer is composed of many parts like motherboard, screen, keyboard and mouse. A screen itself may be a class with attribute like length, width and model. Similarly, motherboard may be defined as a class with attribute like model and company. When we define class computer, it will contain attributes that are object of class motherboard and screen. So thus it implies containment. Let us modify class. Person discussed before. First of all, we will define two new class, name and address, as shown in figure. Class name has attribute first name, middle name and last name. Class address has attribute house, street, city and pin code. So now let us modify class person and change the name of the attribute name and address to NM and ADDR respectively. So the data type of attribute NM and ADDR is class name and address respectively. So the class person contain object of class name and address. You can see here on the screen. Aggregation versus composition. Here comparison with aggregation and composition. Aggregation represent non-exclusive relationship between two classes. Remember students, aggregation represent non-exclusive relationship between two classes. In aggregation, the class that form part of the owner class can exist independently. The life of an object of the part class is not determined by the owner class. For example, although the motherboard is a part of the computer, it can exist as a separate item independent of the computer. Thus, motherboard is not exclusive associated with computer. Similarly, object address may be shared by two or more persons, as can be seen in figure 6.6. Basic aggregation is represented an empty diamond. Remember, basic aggregation is represented using an empty diamond symbol next to the all class as shown in figure 6.7. You can see here. Composition represent exclusive relationship between two classes. Once again, composition represent exclusive relationship between two classes. Composition is a strong type of aggregation where the lifetime of the part class depends on the existence of the owner class. If an object of aggregating class is deleted, its part class object also will get deleted. For example, when an object of class person is deleted, the object of class name is also deleted. So name is associated exclusive with single person as shown in figure. Composition relationship are represented using the filled diamond. Remember, composition relationship are represented using filled diamond. You can see here symbol. Composition represented with filled diamond and aggregation represent using empty diamond. In the given example, a relationship between class person and class name is composition relationship. Whereas a relationship between class person and class address is aggregation relationship. Address may be shared by more than one person. So when a person is deleted, the corresponding name object is deleted, but address cannot be deleted. Not the class that contain object of other class is known as owner class or whole class. Once again, the class that contains object of the other class is known as owner class or all class or aggregating class. For example, the person shown in figure 6.7 is an aggregating class. The class that is contained in owner class is known as subject class or part class or aggregated class. Last expectation of an object-oriented language, which is inheritance. Inheritance is generally referred to as is kind of relationship between two classes. It is appropriate when one class is kind of other class. For example, teacher is a kind of person, so all the attributes and method of class person are applicable to class teacher also. In other words, class teacher inherits all attributes and behavior of class person, and class teacher may have additional attribute like subject and method like taking lecture of the subject. In such scenario, class teacher can be defined using class person. Inheritance refers to the capability of defining a new class of object that inherits the characteristics of another existing class. In object-oriented terminology, new class is called subclass. New class is called as a subclass or child class or derived class, whereas the existing class is called superclass or parent class or base class. So that data attributes and method of the superclass are available to objects in the subclass without rewriting their declaration. This feature provides reusability where existing method can be reused without redefining. Additionally, new data and method members can be added to the subclass as an extension. It also allows the method to be redefined in subclass as per need. In class diagram, inheritance is represented using an arrow pointing to superclass as shown in figure 6.8. In this example, person is a superclass and teacher is subclass. You can see here. Generalizing is another name of inheritance or is a relationship. It refers to a relationship between two classes where one class is a specialized version of another. Common attributes and methods are defined in superclass. Subclass is a specialized version with additional attributes and methods. Sometimes there may be a classical hierarchy inheritance between classes. For example, class employee can be derived from class person, then class teacher can be derived from employees. Here employees is a kind of person and teacher is a kind of employee. Such type of inheritance is known as multi-level inheritance. It is so in example you can see in figure 6.9. A class can also be derived using more than parent class. For example, a child inherits the characteristics of both mother and father. Aeroplane is a kind of vehicle as well as flying object. When a class is derived from two or more classes, it is known as multiple inheritance.